present Laura Lipman Brown.
This is good. Thank you for having me this evening. Let me start by going back in time about 3 years. When I was hired to be the first paid staff for the Secular Coalition for America in September of 2005, the 5 national organizations which comprised the Secular Coalition at that time really didn't know how the first congressional lobbyist explicitly representing non-theistic Americans would be accepted in the halls of Congress, in the media, and by our allies in the church-state separation community who were more religious. My first 2 days on the job, September 19th and 20th, 2005, made it clear that the Secular Coalition would be accepted and have an impact beyond the wildest imagination of its founders. On September 19th of that year, I was invited to attend briefings regarding religious discrimination in hiring for Head Start and regarding vouchers. And these invitations were from coalitions which included religious church-state separation groups such as the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty, the Interfaith Alliance, and the Religious Action Center for Reform Judaism. The larger circle of groups also included church-state separationists who were neither religious nor non-religious, such as Americans United for Separation of Church and State, People for the American Way, and the ACLU. And the voucher group also included a number of public education organizations. On day 2, I was included with these larger coalitions on approximately a dozen lobby visits on the Hill. While the Secular Coalition for America now makes hundreds of lobby visits each year, many of which we walk into on our own, our favorites are still the times we get to sit next to our colleagues in these larger alliances. It's admirable that the larger church-state separation community, as well as numerous civil rights organizations, recognized that non-theist does not equal anti-religion, and that none of them hesitated to include what, according to recent surveys, is still the most hated minority group in the country, Americans who rely on non-supernatural life stances. In our society, non-theists are not trusted, they're disparaged, they're assumed to be immoral in many instances, and we're most certainly discriminated against in the voting booth, as well as other areas of American life. Another exciting event occurred on my very first night on the job. On September 19th, 2005, I appeared on Fox's Big Story, and I had no idea what the host would ask, but the first question gave me the opportunity to both dispel the lie that there are no atheists in foxholes, and also to explain the ethical life stance of humanists, atheists, those who live without any supernatural forces, in regards to the then recent Hurricane Katrina. So what I'd like to do is show you a clip that was done at that time. So we're doing Control F5. And
no, Function F5.
Function F5, sorry. There we go. And play. And we have the screen.
No, the thing's blocking it.
There we go.
There are all kinds of lobbyists on Capitol Hill. Well, now for the first time, there is one for atheists. She is Lori Lipman Brown, the Executive Director of the Secular Coalition for America, and she joins us now. Thanks a lot for coming in, Ms. Brown. I got to ask philosophy before politics. They say there are no atheists in a foxhole. If you were in an attic in New Orleans and the water was coming up to right below your chin, do you think you'd be praying?
Well, first of all, let me correct. There are atheists in foxholes, and in fact, I believe we're going to have a bunch of veterans who are atheists in D.C. in October.
But do you think that if your life was on the line, you'd actually break down and pray? You don't. So you've got absolute true faith in atheism.
Well, what we would do is actually try to do whatever we could do to help ourselves. And in fact, even in the Katrina aftermath, humanist and atheist groups, all of the groups that don't rely on a higher power to have things happen, have taken a very active role in raising money and going out there and trying to help, because we believe that we have to do the best we can in this life and do the most good that we can to make things as good as they can be right here now.
And we certainly support those activities 100%. But now, how do you win hearts and minds inside the Beltway? Not too many politicians want to be seen as offering favors to atheists.
Oh, well, it's not favors. Basically, we'll just work to uphold the Constitution. The founders were very good about not putting God into our Constitution and keeping religion and government separate, not only to protect people like myself, but also to protect religious people. We work in coalition with a lot of religious groups who also believe that government and religion should be separate.
Can you name her?
Okay, so that was the first night, and although hopefully I've gotten a bit smoother in terms of not looking off everywhere when I'm supposed to be looking at a camera from afar, I think the point got across, and I was really glad to be able to talk about our ethics a little bit and why we do what we do in terms of trying to help each other. Now, about a week later, I was asked for the first time to appear on the O'Reilly Factor. And by the way, I've been on the O'Reilly Factor 4 times now. I've also been on Tucker Carlson, obviously Fox, and I know that there aren't a lot of supporters out there of Secular Coalition watching those shows, so it was quite a nice change of pace to end up on the Colbert Report a couple of months ago. However, I did want to show you, and this isn't going to be a bunch of clips for the whole talk, but I did want to show you a bit of my first appearance on the O'Reilly Factor, because, again, it was just a few days into my lobbying, and his show is one of the few where the producer actually interviews the guests a few hours before they come on. So I had talked to the producer about a bill we were working on and explained how it affects Head Start and allows religious discrimination with Head Start funds. And so they had the bill number, and they had about 6 hours to research it. And the people watching this clip didn't know that, but you do. So let me find the clip. Oh, I knew this wasn't going to be easy. What happened to all of it? Yeah, maybe I can get a hand here. How can I pull him back up? Oh, is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. The phrase Merry Christmas, when people, not that, no. Title 3. I'm sorry, tech never works for me. I should just give up. Although I did do a number of PowerPoints this year that were really fun. It should be number 2, or number 3. Here it is, unresolved problem. All right, now we're
Unresolved problem segment tonight. The battle between traditional Americans and secular Americans continues. The Secular Coalition of America has recently opened a lobbying office in Washington, and joining us now from D.C. is the director of that office, Lori Lipman Brown. You're an atheist, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are all you people in your lobbying group atheists?
Sometimes they use different titles. Humanist. What we all have in common is that we don't believe in a deity.
Okay.
So,
well,
yeah, which most people would say encompasses atheism.
So the Secular Coalition is basically the atheist coalition, but secular sounds better. You don't want your,
there's a terrible stigma attached to the word atheist, and I hope we change that too as we go.
What do you want? Why are you there? What do you want to accomplish?
The coalition was formed because of concern about how much government was getting into, religion, church and state was getting mixed. And so let me give you a good example. Right now, the main thing we're lobbying on is there's an attempt, or there was a very close vote in the House last week in which they are now going to, if it passes in the Senate this way, allow religious discrimination and Head Start programs where someone can get hired or fired because they don't have the right religious belief when it comes